Three, two, one. Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we're going to be discussing on how the new TTK is going to be affecting the weapons in 6.2.
Yeah, so we're basically going to be breaking down the weapon category, so assault, medic, etc., into what we think are going to be the top weapons to use. We're also going to throw some honorable mentions in there. It's just our opinion based on this. We're just going off what the patch notes say. Obviously, we're not going to know till Thursday what guns are going to be the best because we have to first try it, obviously. But this is just going
Mm-hmm.
off, the patch notes.
Yeah, and just our overall prediction on, honestly, just how, on what we think, is going to happen to the weapons.
Alright guys, so just a quick disclaimer. We're just rating these based on what we think is going to be the best in public matches, not competitive. Otherwise, these lists, they wouldn't be too different, but there'd definitely be guns that would be interchanged throughout the lists. But
Mm.
why don't you start it off with number 5?
So, number 5 for us is going to be the G15.
So the G15 has
Uh,
a damage model of 3 to 6 bullets to kill.
mm-hmm.
Uh, 3 going up to 30 meters, 4 starting at 30 going to 50, 5 between 50 and 100, and then past 100 it's 6. So it's basically up to 50 meters it's getting the same TTK back as it was in 5.0. As most of you guys know from my channel, pre 5.2, the G15 was becoming one of my favorite semi-autos. Uh, for me, it's probably going to be my most used. There is another semi-auto that we mentioned later in the list that's got to be up there for me. But what do you think?
Honestly, this gun is pretty. It's a really solid. It's a robust weapon, but I feel that in certain situations it could also other weapons could also overtake, especially in damage and other things. But this gun's very solid. Overall, pretty big mag size. Damage over range is pretty solid. So I definitely see this gun being a big contender for the next for 6.2. So yeah. So off to number 4.
The other G15, the Sturmgewehr. So all assault rifles have a 4 to 7 bullet to kill, excluding the M2, which has a 5 to 8. But we have the Sturm at number 4 because it's still a solid gun, 4 to 7 bullets at 670 RPM. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage at close range, and as long as you're able to control recoil, which for those who don't know, recoil is going to return to how it was 5.0. So it's going to have a lot more kick than what it's been used to.
Yeah, and even then, like if you played, pre 5.2 a lot, and just before the TTK change, like you'll even know like it's not a lot of recoil even then. Like the gun is, same mag size as the G15. It's just automatic and less damage, but it's a pretty versatile weapon.
Yeah, for
Uh,
me personally, I use the NIDAR sight on it a lot. Right now, the way the TTK is now, you can throw a scope on there and still have no recoil. It's kind of crazy,
Absolutely.
but just expect that because of the type of weapon it is, it's going to be an aggressive weapon. Um, you're going to expect to see a lot of NIDAR sights, so people are going to have that ADS speed, so the Sturm's definitely going to be a gun
Yeah.
to look out for.
All right. On that note, number 3, the AGM.
So the AGM actually kind of got a nerf, actually, in a way, but also buffed in the fact that original uh, rate of fire was 360 last patch, and it was a flat 4 bullet to kill. Now it's back to its original 5.0 rate of fire at 450 RPM, and it's a 4 shot to kill up to 100 meters. But after 100 meters, it's a 5 bullet to kill, which most of the time you're not going to really be shooting at 100 meters with a semi-auto.
Yeah.
Um, it is going to happen
Mm.
depending on your playstyle too, but realistically, it's not going to happen that much. So you can kind of just stick at a 4 bullet to kill.
Yeah. This is honestly, it used to not like I used to not care about this weapon at all, but after 5.2, they changed it a little bit, like with fire rate and stuff like that, make it a little bit more competitive. Even though 5.2 was definitely not one of my favorite, uh, you know, updates ever.
No one's
Uh,
favorite. Yeah.
no one's favorite. uh, I I learned to really appreciate this gun and respect it.
Because
So.
it's also a very skilled weapon. It kind of I think it's good for all players because it kind of teaches you like how to play the game because you're kind of limited on ammo count in the mag.
Hmm.
You gotta place your shots well, and
Yep.
I think it's a very good like weapon for anybody to pick up because it's a good gun for someone starting out or a
Hmm.
seasoned veteran. So,
All right.
so off to number two, we have the Turner. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you start on this one.
Uh, Turner. Um, 3 shot to kill up to what range? Like 50?
50.
50. And
Then it's a
then,
four at
yeah.
50 to 100, and then
Yeah.
five at 100 plus.
This gun, honestly, man, it's statistically on paper, it's looking pretty powerful. And if you go down the right tree to get the 20 round magazine, this gun is going to be a pretty solid weapon. I remember using it back in 5.0, and I absolutely love this gun. But after that update, man, 5.2, it really killed the Turner for me.
Yeah, as
It
a
killed a lot of semi-autos, honestly, but
every semi-auto.
yeah. So
Semi-autos are basic. Excuse me. You just basically use the stock to do damage.
but yeah, probably one of my favorite semi-autos for sure. All right,
So
so
we're gonna have our honorable mentions now.
all right,
Um,
let's start with the
first
first one.
off, yeah, the Bretta. The Bretta is definitely gonna be something to look out for because it can, if you land all your shots, it can one burst up to 30 meters, and then
Mm-hmm.
past 30 meters, you only need 5 shots. So basically 2 bursts. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as you're getting accurate with your shots, you're this gun's gonna be amazing.
And then even then, the semi-auto is very good.
Yes,
The
and
semi-auto is very good.
honestly, the higher rate of fire version is probably gonna be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I kind of use a slower rate because I kind of like keeping it as a burst weapon because that's what it was made
Mm-hmm.
for. And honestly, if I was gonna use the other side, I'd just use the ribby rolls, honestly. But that's
True.
just me personally. But yeah, this is definitely a gun to look out for, because it can one burst you, like I said. But on to the next one, we have the 1907. Now this is your gun, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
let you take it
Uh.
from here.
Oh my God, the 1907. I, I absolutely adore this gun. Pre 5.2. Then they absolutely screwed the thing over, trying to make it into an SMG. Small magazine size, high rate of fire, but during 6.2, I think it's 4 to 7, right?
Hmm
4 to 7. This gun is gonna be a pretty solid choice. Close, medium. Uh, Even if you throw it into semi-auto, maybe even long range, like it's gonna be a pretty solid pick.
So our last honorable mention is the Mass 44. So the Mass actually got a pretty sizable buff for damage. Uh,
Mm,
like the Turner, actually it has the exact same values as the Turner, damage-wise. So you have a 3 shot up to 50, 4 shot from 50 to 100, and then 5 shot past 100. Now, the reason why this is an honorable mention is because that damage output is extremely good for 360 RPM. Now, the only reason why it's an honorable mention is because it only has an 11 round magazine.
yeah,
And with the amount of people you're most likely going to see, it's going to be hard to take down a couple people with a mag. Um,
It's just all it's all dependent on how you play and how good your recoil control is and stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know,
Um,
it's the same
but
thing like with the AGM.
yeah. It's just that obviously the AGM has a little bit, it's a little bit more forgiving in a way because you have the rate of
Mm-hmm.
fire.
Yeah.
Um, but like he said, it just depends on recoil and how you're using the weapon and where you go from there. But before we move on, I know
Mm-hmm.
we only had our list up to 3 honorable mentions for this
Yeah.
class. Um, but I do want to include the M1 carbine because it has a very, very similar damage output to the AG. Still at 450 RPM, that never changed. Um, 4 shot up to 50 meters, 5 shot to 100, and then a 6 shot past 100. And with 31 rounds, you can't go wrong. So
Absolutely not.
that's another one I would
That gun was
look.
the old meta.
That was
So
yes the best gun in the game at the very beginning.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, down to number 1. Honestly, I don't think it's a question, but we have the
No,
STG-44.
absolutely not. This
Um,
gun is
I mean,
most
you got
likely.
rate of fire,
Yeah.
recoil is very moderate, very controllable. The recoil pattern's very um, guessable. Is that the best word?
It's
Uh,
predictable. Predictable.
yes, that's the word. Very predictable. Again, 4 to 7 bullet to kill, and I just it's very versatile, and I just don't see this gun not being where it is.
Yeah, I mean, you could go down either tree. You could go down the tree that's more like suitable for turning it into kind of like a semi-auto and throwing a scope on to just being a regular assault rifle. Like this gun is very very versatile. Anyways, that wraps up the assault class.
Now
So we're
let's
gonna
jump over to medic.
medic. All right, all right. So on to the medic class. So for the medic class, okay. Let me specify real quick. We have like 7. Did I count that right? 7 weapons
Uh,
technically under the medic
yeah.
class, but 3 of them are listed as number 2, and you'll see why in a second.
But yeah,
Um.
going off that,
Mhm.
uh, jungle carbine's at number 3. I mean, it's a gun that hasn't changed. Uh, but it's
And
still going to be top medic gun.
yeah,
I mean,
and most likely will not change.
uh,
2 shot
I
kill
mean,
at
it's
100 meters, 100 plus.
yes,
Yeah,
at 100.
and then 1 shot headshot to even then too. It's
No, 75 meters,
75 meters, but
which is still
even
insane.
yeah,
But
it's the gun is pretty insane. It's
I mean, other than headshotting at any range, it's a better version actually than the Lee Enfield, which is supposed to be its counterpart. And the best
mhm,
part about that is you still get meds, and you get to heal yourself. So it,
it's great.
yeah. So you're
just
basically just using a sniper in the medic class.
it's just dumb, but we don't really speak about that. Anyways, off to number 2. Now, number 2 isn't just one weapon. We have it classed as 3 weapons. So we have the Light Bolt ZK, the Tommy, and the Suomi.
Now the reason we have it tied is because they have the exact same damage model, which is
Mm-hmm.
a 4 to 9 bullet to kill. Um, but they all have their drawbacks, but they're all similar
They
in a
have their
way.
drawbacks and their upsides. So
Yes. So the ZK limited mag size at 30, but you have the high velocity, which means you're going to be able to outgun the Tommy or the Suomi point blank. The
yep.
Tommy is just like the middle ground between the Suomi and the ZK. You have a 50 round mag. Uh, Recoil is very controllable. Um, Still the same rate of fire as the ZK. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the Suomi, which is at 770 RPM, which is a little bit faster, but the drawback is reload speed.
Yeah.
So they're very balanced in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they're not the same gun, but for the purposes and how good they are, they're kind of on the same level when it comes to public matches. Um, if you
Yeah.
guys have seen my recent comp match highlight video, which I highly suggest checking out, um, the ZK is the best comp weapon. And I know we said that we're only going to talk about public matches, but the ZK would be the best medic weapon when it came to comp. But when it comes to pubs, um, it's still good, but again, it's that magazine size, which puts the Tommy and the Suomi so
Yeah.
well on the same level.
Yeah. And honestly, I have to say, like, uh, 5.0, these guns felt amazing. Like,
And they were still the
and
best
yeah, and they're kind of hard to choose
until
from, but
something came in.
yeah, yes, the dark age.
So, on that note, honorable mentions. So, I know we have something else listed, but I want to get to the EMP first. The EMP has always been that underrated medic class gun. Always. It's never been seen any higher, and I don't know why. Um, Again, mentioning the comp video, I ended up actually switching to that
Hmm.
my second to last match and played the last match with it, and I popped off with it. So
Yeah.
that does say a lot considering
Hmm.
um, good magazine size, good damage, very moderate recoil, and it's just a very good gun.
It's a very
Uh,
solid gun.
I
Very
don't know. You
solid
said
gun.
you're still working on it, because I know you said that's a gun you want to get gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Uh, that's another gun I want to get gold for sure. Honestly, this this gun is pretty great. Like I think I picked it up one day and I dropped 31 kills and 0 deaths on devastation. Like uh, it just it's an easy gun for any new players to just pick up and start using. Honestly, it's
Hipfire is really also underrated on this gun too.
oh yeah, that's for sure.
Now to our last honorable mention, and I honestly thought this would be the best medic gun going into this before patch notes. But now
Hmm.
reading the patch notes, I'm not sure, which is why it's our honorable mention. I have been using it a lot lately because I'm actually really enjoying it, and again, I thought it would be the best gun to going into 6.2. But as our last honorable mention medic gun, we have the grease gun. Now, it has the fastest TTK within 10 meters, which is 3 bullets. But again, 450 RPM, so it does have to combat the higher rate of fire weapons.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me find it here. I have the chart here. Uh, 3 bullets a kill, as I said, up to 10 meters. 4 from 10 to 20. 5 from 20 to 30. 6 from 30 to 50. 7 from 50 to 75, and then past 75, it's a straight 8. Personally, I kind of thought 8 was a lot considering because of the rate of fire. I understand it's an SMG, but
Hmm.
again, I mean, you're never really going to use it at 75, but even then, I think that uh, the middle values, like any like 20 to 50, were kind of high. That's
Yeah.
just me personally.
Especially with its rate of fire.
Yeah, because I kind of felt that, again, I know it's an SMG, but I think it should have fell in line closer to, how the ARs and the LMGs were kind of set up. Um,
And its bullet velocity is kind of meh. It's like so
yeah, it's
it
kind
leaves
of
you in a
mediocre.
yeah it leaves you in
But
a weird position.
the bright spot is it did get buffed on the um, hipfire. Hipfire recoil is smaller, so that means that so when you shoot, your crosshair gets larger.
Hmm.
Um, that build up on the grease gun is now slower, so your hipfire is going to be a little bit better over longer durations of fire.
Okay.
So that's definitely going to be a bonus considering the rate of fire is
Yeah,
so
and
low
it's
considering.
very important to land all your shots with that weapon. So, all right, off
Oh,
to the number one spot.
and this may be a surprise, maybe not,
I don't
but
think it's a surprise. I don't think
I
so.
think it will be to some because it actually did see a huge nerf, but it's not huge enough. Um, we have the Type 2A. Um,
Undoubtedly, I feel like it. Um,
the rate of fire is still 1,000 plus.
yep. Takes
The
one more
recoil did
bullet.
get
It
uh
takes one more bullet to kill, I think. Than like say the
compared
Lipo
to
ZK Tommy Suomi.
yeah
Yeah.
at every range that we listed for the ZK, Tommy and Suomi, it literally takes one more bullet at those ranges. The hip fire did get nerfed. The same thing with the grease gun. That it gets short. It takes longer for that build up to come up for the hip fire. It's actually faster for the Type 2A. Sorry. So it builds up faster. So your hip fire isn't going to be as good. And they increased, if I'm remembering this correctly, increased the horizontal recoil from 1.1 to 1.14, which isn't a lot, and they increased the vertical recoil from like zero point 0.4 something to zero point 0.6 something.
Mm.
And going off the values that I heard, that's actually less than the ZK Tommy and Suomi. And I think if they want to balance his weapon correctly, and I know we were talking about it separately, um, that I think because I think the Tommy or the Suomi has like a zero point 0.8 something vertical recoil. I think to balance this weapon fairly, I think the 2A needs to be in the zero point 0.9 category for vertical recoil.
Yeah. I would say so. Uh, and to be honest, like that extra bullet to kill doesn't really matter since the rate of fire is so high, so that follow up shot is gonna be there
I
immediately.
mean,
And
just minimum recoil, well, not minimum recoil, sorry, minimum rate of fire on that gun is already basically 250 higher than the minimum on the Suomi,
exactly.
and it has less recoil.
Uh huh. And like I said, that follow up shot, it's one more bullet to kill, but that follow up shot will be there, right behind
Instant.
the next. So, and then even if you even think about putting the lipo on it, where it's boosted up to 1200, it doesn't make a difference.
Nope.
You just don't have a 51 round magazine, which I guess is kind of a downside, but
Yeah.
um, it's ridiculous. It definitely could have gotten hit a little bit more. You know, it at least added another on top of what another bullet to kill on top of what they've already added at least, or at recoil, even that too, like increase the horizontal more and vertical. Like I don't know, man. It's straight
Yeah, I
bullet
kind of,
holes.
and I don't like the fact that they made the Type 100 the exact same bullet to kill as the Type 2A. I think they should have made it similar to, again, our trio of the ZK, Tommy, and Suomi up to an extent. I think they probably could have kept the bullet to kill the same, keep it the same, or, yeah, keep it the same at like 20 to 50. Leave it how it is close range, and then at range, you know, make it similar to. I kind of want to say the M3, maybe.
Yeah.
No, not the M3. Probably more. I would say more towards the Mab 38s.
Mm.
Well, actually, no, I can't say that because it's the same as the ZK Tommy Suomi. So yeah, just keep it as the same as the Tommy Suomi and ZK. Um,
Yeah.
obviously keep the Tommy ZK and Suomi more deadlier at range, but make the Type 100 more deadlier. Or sorry, leave those guns deadly at close range. Make the Type 100 a little more deadly at range because that's what the gun's made for, really,
Yeah.
SMG wise. And I just think it's unfair that it's getting this treatment. And
Mm.
that went from one of my favorite SMGs, and I don't honestly, I don't think I'm gonna. I'll probably try it, but I don't think I'll use it 06.2 until they fix it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Off to the support class. All right, guys. So the support class. We have the at number 3, the MG42. Now, good reason why this gun's at number 3 and on our top 3 list for support, because it's a 4 to 7 bullet to kill, and the rate of fire is ridiculous, especially if you put the light bolt on. Like,
Yeah, and I just want to say, literally, except for the Madsen, which I'll include it right now because it's the only one out. The Madsen is a 5 bullet to kill up to 50 meters, and after 50 meters, it's a straight 6. But every other LMG and MMG has a 4 to 7 bullet to kill, and the damage drop off is exactly the same. So they're all 4 shots, 0 to 10.
mm,
10 to 30, they're 5 shots. 30 to 50, they're 6. And then beyond 50, there's 7. Now, I really don't like this balance at all,
mm,
especially with the MMGs, because the MMGs,
are oppressive.
I'm pretty sure, other than the S2200, no, I'm sure there's an MMG below a rate of fire of the LMG, but I just think the MMG should have an extra bullet to kill considering their rate of fire.
Yeah.
I get they have to be bipoded, but still, that's
Uh,
kind of going back to, the big reason why they changed the TTK was because of the way that MMGs were functioning.
yeah, and just the especially the oppressive nature of the MG42 being able to sling so many rounds down at the rate of fire that it has is absolutely ridiculous, and the hip fire being almost as good as an SMG. Like, while you're just standing up,
Straight
it's
buzzsaw.
yeah, it's insane. So
Now, number two, right?
number 2,
Um, so yeah, it's not even a question because this wasn't even changed. The Model 37, it's the best shotgun.
slam
It,
fire
it's
shotgun.
yeah, it's
Like,
better than the 12G.
it,
Ask anybody, it's the best shotgun. I mean, heck, I even have it gold,
large mag
and I
tube
don't even use
size.
shotguns. So yeah,
Large.
it's tied for the most mags or most rounds in a mag in the
Mm,
entire shotgun class. It's
it's
7.
crazy. This gun's insane. Why
Yeah,
they
I
add
don't, I don't
it?
honestly, I don't even think we need to add anything else onto that.
No, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, so straight into the honorable mentions. I'll go with the first one last. The Lewis.
Mm,
Um, we would have it on here. I'm just because of the bullet to kill. I'm not sure. Well, when we were deciding this list, we weren't really sure on whether it was an honorable mention or a top.
yeah.
Um, because it did see a kind of a nerf.
Hmm.
It does have a little bit more vertical recoil now, or it's going to. It's gonna have a little bit more horizontal, and they're not too bad.
Yeah.
Um, but it is something to think about.
Hmm.
Um,
Uh, I mean, it's still a good gun to look forward to. I
yeah,
mean,
because it's
damage, the 97 round drum mag, a
if
solid
you go
rate of
down that route,
fire.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
and I
but
think the reason they're doing it is because it has been the number one LMG for a while. I mean, you
mm,
can argue since the game started, it has been.
yeah,
Um, that's part of the reason they kind of want to have you touch other guns and try them.
yeah.
Um,
I
I
mean,
would say I'm surprised about it, but again, not at the same time.
yeah,
But
yeah. It just is what it is. I feel like it's
it's had
kind of
its time.
understandable. Yeah, it's definitely had its time. It's overdue.
Um, but our second gun on the honorable mention is the Type 11. The reason being, muzzle velocity is going to be 920. Now, I don't know if it's going to be
Sniper bullet
higher.
velocity.
Yeah, yeah, higher. I know we
Yeah,
were having this discussion before. I don't know if it's higher than 1922, the MMG, because I know that was supposed to have the highest muzzle velocity in the game if you have the high velocity rounds. But the Type 11 is going to have a 920 muzzle velocity, so 920 meters per second. Now, with the buffs the snipers are getting this patch, which the highest is going to be the Krag or the Krag, however you pronounce it, and the car is going to go up to 900 meters per second. It's going to be higher. So it's definitely a gun to look after for sure, just
Sheesh,
because
dude.
of that muzzle velocity.
This gun's
I
gonna be
mean,
scary.
I, s- I mean, my only problem with that gun is the reload speed, but otherwise, it's a really good gun.
Yeah, I personally enjoyed this gun, especially when it came out. I dropped 100 kills on it on Solomon Islands, and I was
Oh, I
having a
forgot about
blast.
that. Right, right.
Yeah, I was having a blast with the gun, but and mind you, I didn't go down the route of the quick reload where you could throw the clips in. So I was doing the long reload
Oh
the whole
boy.
time.
Oh God.
So yeah.
And off to our number one, it's really undisputed. I mean, the bar is set so high, unintended.
Okay, dude.
The bar. I
The
mean,
bar.
again, because it has the same damage model as all the other LMGs, it has the highest rate of fire out of all of them at 720.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the mag size is smaller
But it's
for
not
the
gonna really matter.
smallest LMG wise. Yeah, it's not gonna matter.
It's just not
Um,
gonna matter this update.
we would have thrown in the FG42 as an honorable mention, but considering the bar is just better because again, same bullet to kill at all ranges, but you have an extra 50 RPM. You're just gonna
Hmm.
be able to kill somebody faster.
And then you also have like the versatility of it. You know, high RPM. Switch it to the low RPM for maybe
Which
if you want to extend out a little bit longer. You know, longer
which I would
ranges.
say don't do that only because, and I don't like this, but the bar on the low rate of fire has the same time to kill as the high rate of fire. Exactly the same. So
Exactly the same.
yes, so I wouldn't recommend using the low rate of fire at all, to
Oh
be
yeah,
honest with
yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
except at extreme long ranges
Yeah.
because you're going to be able to land more shots with it.
Mm.
But I
Conserve
don't,
ammo.
and I don't know if I said this before in a video, but I kind of saw this coming.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would never put this in low, considering
Mm.
what the bullet to kill is.
All right, so that wraps up our support list. Um, off to recon. Now on to recon. So number 3, Type 99 Arasaka.
Yeah, so they buffed the damage on this gun. Minimum is now 66, max is now 80 if you don't land a headshot.
Good.
Because obviously every sniper is a one-shot headshot no matter what the range is. And they're also buffing the muzzle velocity from 600 to 750.
Mm.
So, um, as on my channel also, I have a 100 kill game with the Ross rifle. Um, it's gonna look like nothing if I was using the Type 99. I'll just be honest. But with the way it's gonna be after 6.2, it's gonna make that game look irrelevant. I'll I'll just be honest. And I'm not talking about the gameplay. I'm just talking about the gun.
Yeah. Uh, gun. Honestly, even before the bullet velocity got fucking boosted, I still really like the Arasaka a lot. Although it's
It
still
was, I mean, free. It was
underpowered.
my favorite
Yeah.
sniper.
Mm. For sure.
It was just fun to use. It was
Absolutely.
good aggressively. You could sit back with it and snipe
Looks
people. It
really good
was
too, especially in gold.
yes, especially yes. And I
Especially in
do
gold.
also have the I forgot what the Art Deco skin on it looks really good.
Yeah. All right. So on to number 2, the trench carbine.
I mean, it's not really a question. Full RPM.
Mm.
I'm not sure if it's returning to its it is. I'm
It
seeing it
is.
now. It's returning to its original rate of fire, which it doesn't really matter because it was full auto anyway.
Mm.
360. Um, there's no point in using the PO8. I've said this before. With the trench carbine. Uh, it literally has the same damage model up until 75 meters, and then at 75 meters, it takes one more bullet to kill than the PO8.
Which is
And
fine because you're not gonna really use this gun at that kind of range because his bullet
yeah,
velocity is already really bad.
and even if you were rate of fire wise, it's just gonna outbeat the PO8.
Yeah.
Um, I really wish they kind of reworked the PO8's damage model to be a little bit more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Maybe like
maybe
increase
drop it a bullet to kill.
yeah, increase
Um,
damage, increase bullet velocity.
I would say leave it a 4 shot up to 40. Leave it a 5 shot between 40 to 75, and then leave it at a 6. No, you could probably leave it at 6 and 7, where it is at 75 to 100 and 100 plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the damage drop off should be less than what it is of the trench carbon. Just again, just to keep it balanced, and considering there are only two guns in the class, you should be able to, you know, give yourself a little variety and not just know,
Hmm.
oh, like no question.
Yeah. And plus, the magazine size on this gun is pretty fucking solid.
Yeah,
Like
41.
41, and how much in reserve? Like 100, 200 plus, something like that. I don't remember.
It would be 82.
Is it 82?
Yeah. And then um if you resupply, it would be 123.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when you resupply, it's like 100. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
And actually, I don't know if I saw this in the patch notes, but I would think because the TTK's kind of going back, I would think they would lower the attrition again.
Yeah, but
Um,
they didn't mention anything, which is weird.
yeah. See, I don't. I rather start with more ammo, but kind of a middle ground of where we had in this game and also other games. So originally, you used to start off with, say for the STG, for example, you'd start off with 62 reserve when you spawned. Go up to 93 when you resupplied. Now it's like 124 in reserve when you start and 155 when you resupply. I think it should be a middle ground, so I think you should start with 93 reserve and then max is 124 because that's what it was in other games when you spawned in
Yeah.
for assault. So like um let's go with the AEK for example for BF4. 31
Mhm.
rounds in the mag, same as SG, 124 in reserve. Um because I think we have those ammo crates, that's why I would say start lower.
Mhm.
Um, and then resupply up to 124, but I think that would be perfect. Um,
Yeah.
we'll see what they do from here, but yeah.
Yep. So on to honorable mentions. We have the Car 98K.
I mean, you could also say the Craig or the Craig again, however you
Car
pronounce it, because it's
98K slash Craig.
yeah, it's basically the same gun except obviously you have the different drawbacks.
Yeah. Uh, both pretty solid. 900 meters per second bullet velocity, which is insane. Still not as good as the Type 11, but pretty good for a sniper rifle.
Except Type 11 does a one-shot headshot,
Eh,
which is good, thank
Correct.
God.
Correct. That would be a
Be
very
kind
big
of
problem
broken.
with 30 rounds.
Type
Full
2A would
auto.
look like nothing compared to that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, both very, very solid weapon choices. Um,
And then the other honorable mention we have, even though we were cutting off it too, is the G95. It's
mhm,
literally the same thing as the Type 99. I know people are probably not going to be happy with this selection, only because I know a lot of people have this as their number one sniper.
mhm,
Um, Personally, I just don't care for it too much. I don't know what it is about it. If it was BF1, hands down, best sniper, not even a question.
yeah,
This game, I don't know. I just don't like it as much.
feels weird. Definitely feels weird when I'm using it. Off to number one, the ZH. This
Another one, I don't even think that was a question, honestly,
this gun has been the probably one of the best weapons in the recon class for since the game came out.
since the game, yeah.
Uh, you know, it's getting a rate of fire buff, right?
Back to where it was, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's saying a lot considering how good it was. Right now, it's sitting at 128 RPM. Two shot at any range. And that's gonna stay. But now it's going up to 150. So, I mean, I know we have this talk about also, this feels like the only gun that you can't respond to.
yeah,
Whether it's a 1v1 gunfight or not, as long as they land the two shots, it feels like there's nothing you could do. And now that it's getting a 22 RPM increase, it's
yeah. Those
I don't
back-to-back
even know
shots
what
are gonna be. It,
insane.
you're just gonna feel like you're gonna die in one shot.
Yeah.
Like, uh, it's kind of ridiculous how you can't respond to these weapons. It's
The
mainly
muzzle
because
velocity is wild.
yeah, it's because the muzzle velocity and rate of fire. Just being able to those two in sync just Jesus, dude, powerful, very powerful.
And I do want to mention too. Um, well, actually, let's wrap up first before I mention this. But
Well, I hope you guys definitely enjoyed our prediction uh, lists for each and every class. Um, Granted, these are opinions. These are not, you know, these are not meant to be absolute facts that you must follow by, and
yeah,
the weapons you have to use for the next update.
yeah, they're just absolute suggestions. It's
Yeah,
not.
their
It's just
opinions.
what we think
Hmm.
are going to be. Obviously, again, like I said in the beginning, we're not going to know until everybody tries it.
Absolutely.
Um, but one
And
thing I did want to add is,
hmm
for opinion-wise, not even just they're still going to be good weapons, but the lower rate of fire SL semi-autos, so the G43, the Carabin, the Selp Slaughter, and the Garand, and yes, that's how you pronounce it. I had to do a little research on that. Um, I think it should be a three-shot kill no matter what. That's what it was in BF1.
yeah,
Um, BF1 had the slowest time to kill of all battlefield. Well, not of all battlefields, but it was one of the slowest um out of all the battlefields until 5.2.
correct.
And I think because they're so low, um, the Selb has a 257, the rest have a 300. Um, and I think mainly if it was narrowed to like two, the Selb and the Garand, because the Garand only has 8 rounds. The Selb's already at 257, so honestly, I do think it should be a 257 or a three-shot kill at all ranges. Um, three
Yeah,
shots to 100, and then four after. But yeah, it's just my personal opinion. I just want to say that quick.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, all opinion. You guys don't have to use these weapons. We, us two personally, we like straggling away from the meta sometimes because it gives us a little bit of a challenge. Not trying to boast or anything, but uh, it it just it's fun to have a little bit of a challenge. Use other weapons and stuff like that. So that's why maybe our list differs from other YouTubers who just like using the meta weapons and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's a
And,
bad thing. It's just
and that's why I'm happy about 6.2 because it's kind of bringing the variety back where it's like there's actually variations to using the different guns. Like if you see in the meta right now, it's just strictly Bar for support and Lewis, but mainly Bar, uh, Medics 2A, um,
yep,
and then Assault right now. Um, Basically anything but semi-autos, realistically.
yeah.
Um,
But hands
so
down, the
it,
best still is like the STG 44.
yeah, but because of the way it's returning, recoil's returning to the way it was. Um, I mean, it's just gonna give us more variety. The game's gonna feel more refreshing again. Um, I know recently, well, I don't know if it's recently, but Westy had a video, asking, uh, or maybe it was AKA Art. I'm sorry if I'm messing it up. They had a video on what the best gunplay was of any game.
Hmm.
If you look pre 5.2, I think most people would have said Battlefield 5, and the reason being is because you don't have the bloom. I hate bloom. Um, Suppression sucks. Old
Yeah,
suppression, I should say. Um, yeah, it just feels more realistic. It feels, more refreshing, more realistic, and just a lot more fun.
absolutely.
And I think if you ask a lot of players, they agree. I think that's the main reason why there's so much backlash because, this game was built off the TTK,
Yeah,
and you know, now that we're kind of getting it back, it just feels good again. Now I hope it
absolutely.
translates to the game, but again, we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to support our channels by slapping the like button, hitting the subscribe button to join the community, and hit that notification bell button to stay notified when when new content drops. All right,
And
guys.
make sure you guys check out our streams because we will be streaming when the update comes.
Absolutely. All right, guys. See you in the next one.
Have a good one.